The sound of my children's handmade gifts hitting the bottom of the trash bin echoed through the marble foyer of Hamilton Manor. My twins, Alex and Emma, stood frozen, their 10-year-old faces crumpling as they watched their grandmother, Diana Hamilton, dust off her hands with a look of disgust. "Really, Olivia," she sneered at me, teaching my grandchildren to give such common gifts. "What will our guests think?" Behind her, my husband Thomas stepped forward, his face darkening. "Mother." "No, dear." I touched his arm, maintaining my calm. "Let her continue." Diana preened, mistaking my composure for submission. After all, that's how it had been for the past 12 years, the poor scholarship girl who'd married into the mighty Hamilton family, expected to be grateful for any scraps of acceptance thrown her way. "The Petersons are coming, the Blackwoods, the entire board of Hamilton Industries," she continued, gesturing to the elaborate party setup in the mansion's grand hall. "We can't have the children presenting these craft projects. I've already arranged proper gifts." She snapped her fingers, and a maid appeared with wrapped boxes from exclusive boutiques. "These are more appropriate for Hamilton grandchildren." My twins looked at me, tears welling in their eyes. They'd spent weeks creating personalized photo albums, carefully decorating each page with memories of family moments, moments that, apparently, weren't elegant enough for Diana Hamilton's standards. "Grandma," Emma's voice quivered, "we made those specially." "Darling," Diana cut her off, "Hamiltons don't make gifts. We buy them. The sooner you learn that, the better." She turned to me. "Though I suppose we can't expect better influences from someone who grew up differently." If only she knew just how differently I turned out from her expectations. The paperwork signing over controlling interest in Hamilton Industries had been finalized just yesterday, though the public announcement wouldn't come for another week. Diana still thought I ran a small consulting firm, not knowing I'd spent the last decade quietly building an investment empire. "Come here, sweethearts," I gathered my children close. "Why don't you go with Maria to get ready for the party? I need to talk to Grandma." Once they'd left, Diana rounded on me. "You need to stop encouraging this behavior, Olivia. It's bad enough you came from nothing. Must you drag my grandchildren down to your level?" Thomas started to speak, but I squeezed his hand. After 12 years of marriage, he knew when I was about to handle things my way. "You know, Diana," I said quietly, "I've always wondered, what exactly do you think makes someone worthy?" She blinked, thrown by my calm question. "Well, obviously, breeding, connections, proper understanding of our social position. Not hard work, not intelligence, not the ability to build something from nothing." She laughed dismissively. "Oh, darling, is this about your little consulting business? How sweet that you keep yourself busy." The party guests were arriving now, filing into the mansion that had been the Hamilton family seat for generations. Board members, society figures, all the people Diana spent her life trying to impress. "You know what I see when I look at those handmade gifts in the trash?" I continued, my voice still soft. "I see children who understand the value of effort, of personal touch. Something that seems lost on Hamilton Industries lately." Her eyes narrowed. "What would you know about Hamilton Industries?" "More than you might think." I smoothed my designer dress, one that cost more than Diana's monthly allowance, though she assumed it was a knockoff. "For instance, I know about the failed merger last quarter, the dropping stock prices, the whispers about new ownership." For the first time, uncertainty flickered across her perfectly Botoxed face. "How could you possibly?" "Mom." Alex came running back in, now dressed in the suit Diana had insisted on. "Can I at least show everyone the video I made before giving Grandma the store-bought gift?" Diana stepped forward, mouth opening to deliver another cutting remark, but I beat her to it. "Of course, sweetheart. In fact, I smiled at my mother-in-law. I think everyone should see it. Why don't you set it up in the main hall?" "Olivia," Diana hissed once he'd gone, "you're embarrassing the family." "No, Diana." I finally let steel enter my voice. "You embarrassed the family when you threw your grandchildren's love in the trash. But don't worry, soon you'll have much bigger concerns than homemade gifts." "Is that a threat?" She drew herself up, every inch the Hamilton matriarch. "Not at all. Just a preview of changes to come." I turned to the arriving guests, raising my voice slightly. "In fact, why don't we gather everyone for a special announcement? I'm sure the board members would be particularly interested." Diana's face paled as she finally sensed the shift in power. "What have you done?" "Me?" I picked up my children's discarded gifts from the trash, brushing them off carefully. I just did what you always said was impossible. I proved that someone from nothing could become something. And next week, when the new ownership of Hamilton Industries is announced, you'll learn exactly what that something is. The sound of her gasping realization was sweeter than any birthday celebration could be. The grand hall of Hamilton Manor buzzed with whispers as Diana's perfectly orchestrated party began unraveling. Board members huddled in corners, phones discreetly checking stock portfolios, while society wives tracked the mounting tension between us like sharks scenting blood. Thomas, Diana grabbed my husband's arm, her voice urgent. Did you know about this? What is she talking about? Thomas smiled, the same quiet smile he'd worn when I'd shown him the final acquisition papers. Actually, Mother, I helped her do it. Did you really think I'd let my brilliant wife waste her potential running a little consulting business? The twins' video presentation began playing on the massive screen in the hall. Not just their simple birthday message, but a professionally edited documentary about Hamilton Industries' history, including, to Diana's visible horror, footage of every major mistake the company had made under her husband's leadership after she pushed out the more qualified executives. Turn that off, she hissed, lunging for the control panel. I wouldn't, I caught her arm. The board might be particularly interested in the next segment about the shell companies you created to funnel company money into your personal accounts. She froze. You're lying. Diana, I sighed. Did you really think nobody would notice? I've spent 2 years tracking every penny you embezzled. It's amazing what people tell a nobody they don't see as a threat. The color drained from her face as her carefully constructed world began to crumble. Around us, board members were now openly staring, recognition dawning in their eyes. You have a silent buyer, one of them said suddenly. The one who's been acquiring shares through different investment groups. I nodded. 51% as of yesterday, though I have to thank Diana. Her constant undermining of the company's value made the hostile takeover much more affordable. This is impossible, Diana whispered. The Hamilton family has controlled this company for 3 generations. And now it will be controlled by a Hamilton. I agreed, just not the one you expected. Emma and Alex returned to the hall, proudly carrying their restored gifts. Diana flinched as if their handmade presents were weapons aimed at her heart. You can't do this, she tried one last time. The shareholders. Already voted, Thomas cut in. While you were busy planning parties and belittling my wife, she was meeting with every major investor, showing them her plans for modernizing the company, increasing profitability, and ending the nepotism that's been bleeding us dry. The whispers grew louder as more guests realized they were witnessing the fall of Diana Hamilton's empire. Phones emerged, no doubt already spreading the news through Manhattan's elite circles. I trusted you, she spat at Thomas. You're my son. And Olivia is my wife. Those children you just humiliated? They're your grandchildren. Family isn't about trust funds and social status, Mother. It's about love, respect, and yes, sometimes homemade gifts. Mrs. Hamilton, a board member approached me, not Diana, but me. Perhaps we could discuss your plans for the company's restructuring. Of course, I smiled. Though first, I believe my children have some presents to share. After all, family should come before business, shouldn't it, Diana? She stood there, trapped by social convention, as Alex and Emma proudly presented their restored gifts, the photo albums, the video, the handwritten cards, all displaying a love she'd never bothered to understand. And Diana? I added softly, so only she could hear. You might want to check your personal accounts. Those offshore transfers you've been relying on, they've been frozen pending investigation. The sound of her designer bracelet hitting the marble floor echoed through the hall as her perfectly manicured hand went limp with shock. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just taking someone's power, it's making them watch as everything they valued most slips away, 1 penny at a time. The party that Diana had planned as a show of Hamilton family dominance had transformed into something entirely different, the official introduction of Hamilton Industries' new CEO. Board members who'd previously ignored me now clustered around, eager to discuss my vision for the company's future. In the corner, Diana sat alone, her perfect posture finally cracking as she watched her social circle realign itself around her daughter-in-law, the woman she'd spent 12 years trying to push into the shadows. Mom, Emma tugged at my sleeve, can we show Grandma the last present now? I nodded, knowing this would be the final blow. Go ahead, sweetheart. My daughter approached Diana, holding out an envelope with childish handwriting. Diana took it automatically, her hands trembling. What's this? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. It's your chance, I said, joining them. Open it. Inside was a simple document, a contract for a new position at Hamilton Industries, Director of Community Outreach. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. You're offering me a job? Diana's laugh was hollow. After taking everything else. I'm offering you an opportunity to change, I corrected. To work with underprivileged communities to help people you've spent your life looking down on. To understand that worth isn't measured by bank accounts or social status. And if I refuse, then the forensic audit of your personal accounts continues and the board receives a full report of every questionable transaction you've made in the past decade. Thomas joined us, placing a hand on my shoulder. Take the offer, Mother. Consider it a chance to actually earn the Hamilton name instead of just wearing it. Diana stared at the contract, then at her grandchildren, who still looked at her with hope despite everything. You planned this all along, didn't you? No, I smiled. I planned to succeed despite you. Teaching you humility is just a bonus. Slowly, her perfectly manicured hand reached for the pen I offered. Around us, the party guests pretended not to watch as Diana Hamilton signed away her last shred of social superiority. Your office will be on the ground floor, I informed her. Next to the maintenance staff you spent years treating like furniture, your first project will be organizing a scholarship program for their children. You're enjoying this, she accused quietly. Actually, I'm giving you what you never gave me. A chance to prove your worth through actions rather than ancestry. Alex and Emma hugged their grandmother, not fully understanding the power shift but feeling the change in the air. Diana stiffened, then slowly, awkwardly, hugged them back. The children's handmade gifts, I added, will be displayed in the company's main lobby. A reminder that value comes in many forms. As Diana nodded in defeat, I turned to address the watching crowd. Hamilton Industries is entering a new era, one where merit outweighs privilege, where innovation matters more than tradition, and where even the highest members of society can learn from those they once looked down upon. The applause that followed wasn't just for my words, it was for the delicious spectacle of Diana Hamilton's fall from grace. But as I watched her sit with her grandchildren, actually looking at their handmade presents for the first time, I saw something unexpected, a glimmer of understanding. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in destroying your enemies, but in forcing them to become better people. Ready to go home? Thomas asked softly. I looked around the mansion that had once intimidated me, at the society crowd that had once seemed so important, and at my mother-in-law who had finally learned the true cost of underestimating the wrong person. Yes, I smiled. I think my work here is done. After all, the best revenge isn't served cold, it's served with a side of redemption, whether the recipient wants it or not. The Hamilton family legacy would continue, but under new management, and this time, even handmade gifts would have their place in the empire.